must be careful. This is the layer of the final boss. I am the embodiment of darkness, the harbinger of doom. Oh great, another cliche final boss. Wait, what? No, yeah, what I mean is that, oh no, another cliche final boss that's just a floating head with two hands. I am not cliche. No, yeah, you are. Oh, look at me, I'm a giant monster with two giant hands. Oh, I wonder what's going to be my final attack. Oh no, I'm going to use my two hands. That's so unoriginal. Silence! Now you must face my most powerful attack. Yeah. What a joke. Nintendo clearly has a problem. What you just saw has happened to me many times as a Nintendo fan. And it is without a doubt something that Nintendo kinda feels proud of. I'm talking about floating head and hands bosses. These bosses have become an integral part of Nintendo's history of bosses. And you will notice that this is a pattern with all of these types of bosses, but pretty much all you have to do is somehow damage either their face or their hands and you win. That's all you need to do, and that's why I feel like these are copies of the exact same boss. For example, Wham Bam Rock, you need to damage its hands. Same goes with Wham Bam Jewel, in which you damage its hands. And Kirby also has other giant head and hands bosses. For example, Magolor Soul from Kirby Return to Dreamland is just a giant head with floating hands. Although it has different attacks and since it's using mostly magic, it's more entertaining, but you're just damaging the head. Same concept. Same goes with Kirby Mass Attack for the Nintendo DS and its boss, Nocrodius. You're just damaging its hands. And funny enough, this goes with the Kirby saga. The most famous example is Golden from the Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker, in which you shoot its hands, then you shoot its eyes, and then throw a bomb to its mouth. It is the exact same concept. Also from the Zelda series, we have Bongo Bongo, in which you have to avoid its hands and shoot its eye through the Lens of Truth. Again, another boss, which, while not a head, it's like its body, kinda, and its face, and two hands. Also, fun fact, if you shoot it with ice arrows, the boss fight is practically a joke. And this is not only in Zelda 3D bosses, but you can also find it in the 2D bosses, for example, Masao from the Legend of Zelda The Minish Cap, in which you have to first shoot its hands, then hit the hands with the sword, then you have to actually shrink down and damage it from the inside. This is kinda cool, but the concept is still the same, such as Ramrock from the Legend of Zelda Oracle of Ages, in which he attacks in a variety of ways in which you have to adapt, which makes the boss fight a little more dynamic, but it is still just a floating head with two hands that you have to avoid attacks and then damage either the face or the hands. And Kirby and Zelda may be the biggest offenders of this trope, of this cliche, but Mario also has its fair share of bosses that are just floating heads, like Knuckle from Super Mario Odyssey, in which you have to make the hand hit the eyes and then take over the hand with Cappy and then make the hand hit the head. I swear I am seeing the exact same boss over and over again. You can also see it in Wuldergeist from Super Mario Galaxy for the Nintendo Wii, in which at first it's just a rock head, but then it brings out its arms. You have to avoid attacks and then have some explosive boosts and actually troop them around to hit Wuldergeist. Actually, you know what, this boss fight, I remember it being a lot of fun. It is actually a lot of fun, but still, a giant head with hands. And you can see this trope in the newest Mario game. In Super Mario Bros. Wonder, the final boss is Castle Bowser and it has hands. Not only two, but sometimes four, but at the same time. It is the same boss fight. Of course, this one is a little more extended, but the essence is the same. A giant head with hands. Man, you know who else follows this trope? Donkey Kong, of course! Donkey Kong himself in the Donkey Kong game for the Game Boy Color has to be defeated with this trope, in which you have to catch some barrels and send it right through his face. And you know what? Donkey Kong probably got inspiration from Tiki Tongue from Donkey Kong Country Returns for the Nintendo Wii and the Nintendo 3DS, in which he attacks the exact same way. Just stomp on its hands and then destroy the head. It's just two giant hands and a head. That's all. What about the most famous one of all? Andros from the Starfox Series. Besides the first game for the Super Nintendo, all the boss fights are pretty much the same. The giant monkey head and the two arms. Of course, some have layers and some have other stuff before and after, but the essence of the fights in the Starfox Series is still the same. A giant head and two hands. And how do you defeat them all the time? Just shoot, shoot, shoot. You know who else has the same exact giant head and two hands boss fight game after game after game? DJ Octavio. Have you realized that in Splatoon 1, Splatoon 2, and Splatoon 3, the boss fight is the exact same? You have DJ Octavio who launches his two robot hands and you have to shoot them back. It's the exact same boss fight. Even though it's a machine, it's pretty much a head and two hands in which you have to avoid the attacks coming from the hands and damage the head either using another alternative or the same hands that the boss is using. You can also see this in the most recent WarioWare game. In WarioWare Get It Together with Wario Bug, in which even though it's not a boss per se, it is an evil Wario with 18 minigame stages and a final boss stage. Well, the boss itself is not the Wario Bug, it is present and it is kind of what you're trying to defeat. If you play the WarioWare games, you know what I mean. It's not exactly the boss, but it's a boss? It's hard to explain. And a giant head boss with two hands goes all the way back from Wario Land 3, where you see Rudy the Clown, who, even though it has the full body, the hands are not attached to the body, and the body has no collision, so it's pretty much, again, even though you can see kind of the full body, the only things that matter are the giant head and the two hands that are not attached to the body. So yeah, Nintendo has this weird obsession, but it is not only concentrated on Nintendo. You can see this in many different other games. For example, Sigma from Mega Man X, Queen Seal from Chrono Trigger, the Skeleton from Terraria, and the one that clearly has the most inspiration from, Geppetto from Nier Replicant. All taking inspiration from this Nintendo bosses, which I can just imagine them being related and having their meetings like giant head and hands bosses convention, and you have like all these different panels. That would be fun. But what about bosses that are just hands? Because Nintendo also has an obsession with hands. For example, we have Master and Crazy Hand from the Super Smash Bros. Series. What about I-Rock from Super Mario 64 and has also appeared in several other games, but not only mainline Mario games. You can also see, for example, the Snow Ogre from Mario Tennis Aces, just two hands. And let's not even talk about the Zelda Series enemies from Knuckle Master from A Link Between Worlds. These are pretty much the exact same, just damage the hands. They usually have like a weak spot, and it's the exact same boss just without the floating head. And what about floating heads like Mangosteen from the Cuphead series, or Zero 2 from Kirby 64 The Crystal Shards. If I go into talking about all the just head bosses, like the Andros as well from the original Star Fox, this video would never end. Is this a bad trope? No, I don't think it is a bad trope. It is repetitive, yes. Am I tired of seeing this type of bosses? Yes, I am, because I love Nintendo games. I play a lot of Nintendo games, and sometimes I feel like I am battling the exact same boss over and over and over again, and I want something different. I want more of a challenge. So maybe it is fun for maybe the first or second boss of a game, but if it's the last boss or the final boss for any game, maybe switch it up a bit. Maybe change is good. Thank you everyone so much for watching. Tell me in the comments down below if you like the giant head and hands bosses, and I will catch you next time. See ya, bye!